Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Chronicles of Dating, episode 7. I'm going to run out of fingers soon. I don't know what to do then. Anyway, I want to talk about a topic tonight called ghosting. That is not a topic a lot of us want to talk about, and it's not a pleasant topic. Okay, I gotta adjust my seat here. I don't know, I feel kind of weird. And I'm trying to block this light behind me again. Why do I keep getting these lights? Anyway, for those of you who don't recall, who haven't seen, I think it was episode 3, I did a little bit of definitions. Ghosting is basically when someone just drops off the face of the earth, stops contact with you completely. Usually it encompasses they're not even responding to you. So there are varying degrees of ghosting, and I really just want to focus on one particular degree, and that's basically where you're dating someone and they just stop contact. That to me is true ghosting. And there's points where like you may be texting someone or you're talking in a phase, and then the conversation just drops out, or they lose interest and they just stop messaging you, or you go on a date, you never hear from them again. To me, I know people call that ghosting. To me, that's not really ghosting. To me, true ghosting is when you've at least been on 2 dates and then they just stop contacting you altogether. And sometimes, you may send them a message and they don't respond. That's ghosting too. Being a man. Okay, so let's talk about that. So if you're a man and you're reaching out to a woman and she doesn't respond, obviously that right there is ghosting. If you're a female and if you're kind of like me, a little bit more old-fashioned, where it feels better for the man to initiate conversations in the start of a relationship, at the start of a dating phase, it'd be where he just stops messaging you. And that's kind of a hard one to figure out as a woman, because you're like, okay, at what point do I contact him? And if I do, what do I say? That's a hard one. Usually it just depends on the connection that I have with the person, how many dates we've been on and how long we've been dating, as to how long I give them before I don't hear from them and I say something, and what I say. And I always keep it nice. I think I'll just like, hey, is everything okay? I haven't heard from you. Now, where it gets a little bit complicated for men is you may feel like you're being ghosted, and you'll send a message, and then the response you may not get a response. That's ghosting, right? If you don't get one at all. What if the response is a couple of days later? And it's not met with the enthusiasm that you're expecting. It's not 100% ghosting, but it's still along the lines of ghosting. For a woman, the question comes in, well, I haven't heard from them in a couple of days. Let's say it's someone that you are talking to every day, that you're used to communicating with every day, so if you don't hear from them for a couple of days, something's up, right? You may say, hey, is everything okay? And you may get a response. It may be delayed, but the response, kind of leaves you in question what's going on. And then if you wait a couple more days and you still don't hear from them again, that really kind of is ghosting. Ghosting does not feel good at all. It, to me, is probably the most extreme form of, what's the word I'm looking for? It's cruel. It's just cruel. There's no reason for it. Why does it happen? There's a lot of theories out there as to why it happens. One theory is because the person just doesn't have the guts to tell you, hey, I'm done, like, I'm not interested in you. So that's, I think, the chicken theory. There's the other theory that, and this is becoming a lot more common, and I'm very, very disappointed in this one, is where the person just like has had more bad experiences with cutting someone off or ending something, that they're just scared of how a person's going to respond, because they've gotten so used to just people flipping out on them and freaking out and just not acting like a freaking mature adult. Okay, so my advice to everybody out there: one, stop ghosting. Okay, if you are scared of the reaction, you can always block. Okay, always block. But stop ghosting. It's a horrible feeling. Like, I've had it happen to me, and I refuse to do it to anyone. Like, it just does not feel good at all. Number two, if you're on the other side of being let go, act mature. Okay, there is no reason to flip out and cry or to get mad or get upset. You know, put your big girl panties on and say, okay, I understand, and say thank you. Why are you trying to ruin something? Like, you know, there is no reason to act crazy. Okay, and I know it can happen in reverse, but I think girls, honestly, as women, are more prone to the acting crazy than men are, and I know it happens in reverse. I get that, but those are less common than the crazy outbursts, which it's insane. Come on, we're adults here. If in my opinion, if someone ghosts you, or if someone can't handle rejection very well, can't handle it maturely, there's definitely something wrong there. Okay, you need to look inside yourself. There's something unhealthy going on that really needs fixing. Okay, because it's cruel. And I know I've seen some people say, yeah, it happens, I've done it, people have done it to me, it's just a part of it. No, I refuse to accept it. I'm sorry, I refuse to accept it. I will not accept that. There is no reason for it, especially when you're dating. So I'm gonna tell you my dating story, the worst one of ever being ghosted. So after my divorce, I didn't date for a whole year and decided to put myself out there in a very small little way. So I started dating this one guy, and I really liked him a lot, and things kind of moved a little bit slow in the beginning, which is good. And after about 6 weeks, he put commitment relationship on the table, and of course I accepted it. So then we became boyfriend girlfriend, and it felt really, really good. There was something different about this relationship that I had never experienced before, and I'm telling you this now because there's a back end story to that. But for example, I mean, there's so much passion and so much fire that I'd never experienced with anyone before, and I was hooked. Loved it. And also there was a feeling that he gave me that felt so good. Like, every time I saw him, he'd just wrap his arms around me and just hold me tight, and I'd never felt so safe and secure in a man's arms like that before. It was amazing. I'm like, how did I get this far in life and not experience those things before? And I was finding myself in positions I'd never been in before, and I really, really liked it. And I didn't know a lot about what it was, but I liked it. So fast forward 6 weeks later, okay, so we had been together for about 3 months, and he was having some problems with his son, and he had texted me one night, and he said, hey, beautiful, I miss you, I need to go take care of this, and I'll text you or call you later. I said, okay. And I think I texted back, said, sure, you know, let me know if you need anything, you know, do what you got to do. Basically, it wasn't exactly that, but it was like that. A nice supportive text. And the next day, I didn't hear from him, and I was a little bit worried. And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I know he's going through some things, so you can give him his space. I'm not going to bug on him. And then the second day rolls around, and it's really not feeling good. And funny, I made my video about intuition yesterday, and this is another one where my intuition kicked in, and on that second day, and I knew inside, deep down inside, that something was wrong. Something was seriously wrong, and I was scared, and I was sad. I mean, it was like my intuition was telling me this relationship is over. And I know it sounds really weird, you know, hey, it only been 2 days, how can you know, think that it was already over? My intuition was telling me, I was listening to it. And I started doing some research at that point, because I, you know, had been going through a lot of feelings with the whole relationship, and then all of a sudden something new with this, like, not hearing from him, and I didn't want to go chasing after him and scaring him away. And I reached out to a group of supportive women and like, hey, you know, you're getting in your head, you know, give him time. He needs his space. Something, I knew something was wrong. There was something off. I knew it was over. And so at that point, I started trying to go down a path of how can I best support him in his time of need. I waited a whole week. Hadn't heard from him. And I finally texted him and I said, hey, you know, is everything okay? I'm feeling really concerned. I know you're going through some things. You know, do you need to share anything with me? I didn't hear from him. He didn't respond. Okay. Waited a whole nother week. Still hadn't. So 2 weeks have passed by. I hadn't heard from him. I sent him another text. Hey, I'm really feeling worried here. You know, I want to support you. I'm giving you space. I don't know how best to support you, but I don't like being left in the dark either. You know, what do you think? I didn't hear back from him. And I had already decided before I sent that second text, the second week, that I was going to give him 24 hours. And if he didn't respond to me within 24 hours, then I knew for sure the relationship was over and I was going to retrieve my belongings from his house. And I didn't even know how I was going to do that. He wasn't even responding to me. Here's the bad part about this whole being ghosted thing is here I am on the hook for 2 solid weeks not being told that I'm broken up with, that he broke up with me but didn't tell me. And I could have moved on. I could have started that healing process. And I felt like I wasted 2 weeks waiting on something that never was going to happen. That was the horrible part about being ghosted and not knowing whether I had a boyfriend or not. I had no idea. And I felt like that was so cruel. There's something in the bushes. Okay. Anyway. So, there go my allergies acting up again. That was crushing. And I did go the next day and get my stuff. I know I didn't go alone. And it was hard. I was really heartbroken. And it hurt so bad. It hurt being broken up with. Not knowing I was being broken up with. It hurt the way that he broke up with me. I felt like I was just tossed out, like used shoes or something. That led me on a journey, though. I don't regret it happening because it led me on a whole new journey that I feel blessed to have in my life, because I don't think I would have started that journey had I not gone through that. And I learned what a lot of those feelings that I was going through in feeling that safe and that security and that cherished. I learned what that was, and I learned like some of the positions I was being put in. It has a lot to do with feminine and masculine energy. I started learning about all that, and it felt good and it felt right. And I, looking on hindsight, it was just so natural to acquiesce into something that I had no idea what I was doing, what I was acquiescing into. But that was my feminine energy, is really what it was. And I've since learned a lot more. That's when I started learning about the laws of attraction. Just opened up a whole new world. But that's my story about being ghosted. And I know, excuse me, there's probably a lot worse stories out there. And I've heard people being ghosted who were like a week before they're getting married. You know, it's a horrible feeling. Even just dating someone for a short time period, you know, you're already investing time and energy, thoughts, and developing feelings for them. And, you know, if you've been dating for just even a short while, being ghosted is horrible. Like, I could never do that to someone. I think it's mean. It's really, really mean. Now, ironically, he zombied me. So, if you don't remember what zombie is where someone ghosts you and then they come back from the dead like a time later. And he did, 9 months later. He reached out to me and he wanted to meet me, so I agreed to meet him. I didn't know what he wanted, and he basically wanted to apologize for ghosting me, and he wanted to tell me why he did what he did. Now, it was a crap reason. I'm gonna be honest with you. When I went to go pick up my stuff from his house, 2 weeks later, his ex-girlfriend answers the door. I mean, that's told me everything I needed to know. So, but he was telling me another reason why, and I wasn't buying it, and it was a horrible reason. I don't know how valid it was, but it had to do with my kids, and no, it's whatever. But I digress. It did lead me into a wonderful new journey to learning some new things about me, and kind of pinpointing what I want and where I want to be, and what I'm looking for, and that's this very specific feelings of a relationship. Because, man, he set some passion, some fire inside of me, and I had a taste of that, and I was like, wow, I want more. Like, that was awesome. And I'm like, ooh, I'd never had it before. I'm like, oh, I want, that's what I want. Like, I can't, like, you've had a taste of it, I can't imagine not having it again. So that is my story of being ghosted. And I've had a few other people ghost me, or maybe do the slow fade. Maybe I'll talk about those some other times. I think this video is getting long enough as it is. But yeah, so tell me what you think in the comments. Like my video, please. I would greatly appreciate it. If you have any thoughts, it's a free forum. If you disagree with what I say, I'd love to hear it too. I respect everybody's opinion. I'm not saying that my opinion is right at all. My opinion is how I feel, and if you have a different opinion, it's how you feel. I would totally respect it. But I just kind of want to talk about, what it's like on this side of that spectrum. So anyway, thank you for joining me. Darn light. Thank you for joining me this evening. I really appreciate it. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of the week. And until the next installment, much love. Bye.